What's happening, guys? This is Butcher. This episode, I'm going to talk about aggressiveness. I mean, early game, late game heroes, and Pudge is an early game hero. So, it wouldn't make any sense. Hold on. Okay. It wouldn't make any sense for an early game hero to play like a late game hero, right? So if you play Pudge, you have to play aggressive. You can't be passive. Like if you want to be passive, then there's heroes like Shadow Fiend where you farm fast. I mean Tinker's kind of like there's farm oriented heroes. Then there's like whatever DPSers like weak early game, strong late game. Pudge is super strong early game. When you get your level 3, level 5, level 6 and level 7. Level 7 is probably the biggest one because you get level 4 hook, and that does 360 pure damage. So at level 7, you're at your strongest. Like at level 7, you can pretty much solo almost any other hero on the map. I mean, there's a few exceptions, but like maybe Ember Spirit. But for the most part, you could dish out a lot of damage like really fast with Pudge. So you need to rotate, and you need to be aggressive, and you need to buy early game items. So don't save up for like big items. Don't save up for like a heart before going boots, magic wand, bottle, urn. Like get those early game items that help you go early game, and then you should. I mean, like typically you should be able to be so strong mid game that you're like higher level than everybody else and you're controlling the pace of the game, and hopefully you have a carry and you're going to create space for that carry. Like even if your whole team's kind of like passive heroes or whatever, your rotations can like single-handedly change the game. So you need to rotate, you need to control runes, you need to go early game items. uh don't farm too much. Like you can farm like suppose like you destroyed mid and you're like nobody's in your lane. Don't farm AFK farm in your lane for 10 minutes. Like take maybe the tier 1 tower if you can. That'd be really great. Like if Pudge gets a solo tower, that's awesome. But don't stay in your lane and be like let the opponent farm, because when they're farming, you're farming, they're kind of winning because you're stronger early game and Pudge scales off really fast. And also with the flesh heap ability, the more kills you get, the better it is. I'm not saying trade kills like suicide for like supports like CM or Vengeful Spirit or Dazzle, but I'm saying trading kills on Pudge isn't necessarily bad. And also, it's a good idea to rotate even if you're dying a lot. You might be creating a lot of space for your team. If the opponent has to dedicate two supports to constantly protect their mid or constantly gank you, or like make sure like even though they have wards, like you're ganking their carry, they have to be in lane protecting their carry. They can't go focus on your carry or your whatever important heroes or a jungler. So you just rotate, play really aggressive, and when I say play aggressive, I mean like super aggressive. Like if you have a chance at killing somebody, go kill them. I'm not saying to run into 5 heroes or like hook people, like when you're by yourself, hook like 1 out of 5 heroes and then just suicide for that person. No, I'm saying be aggressive. Don't be passive. Like always think of a way to outplay your opponent on Pudge, because you could do so much nuke damage so quickly that any mistake there that your opponent makes, you can like turn it into a kill super easily. Even the good players, like if you catch them off guard for a little bit, if they step to the side of the creep, they're dead. If they like, I don't know, like if you like chase them a little bit, whatever, don't, because yeah. Okay, if you're dying, try to dish out as much damage as you can. So, for example, you're like 200 HP and you're running away and you have like a Bloodseeker chasing after you. Like, turn around, just hook him just to do the damage on him, and maybe like you'll win. Like, don't just play passive. Take chances, and when you play aggressive, like if you're like, I can't kill this guy, like he's gonna go, and you never try to kill him in a certain situation, you're never gonna know whether you can like do something or you can't do something. If you play as aggressive as possible, you're gonna know the limits. Like you're gonna know, like in this situation I can't do that because I tried it and I can't do it, I'm just gonna die. Like the damage doesn't match. Or in this situation, and then you might be surprised, be like, oh, I played aggressive and I played him and I killed him or whatever, and then you're like, wow, this is amazing. Like you're 200 HP but you have full mana, right? And the opponent tinkers like in a lane with like full HP, full mana. If you hook him under tower and then eat him, you can kill him. Like you have 200 HP, he has 800 HP, but it doesn't matter if you like do that. If you're in a fight and you have low HP, full mana, try to stick around to hook somebody. Like try to be useful. Don't just assume that if you're low HP, you need to go back to base. And this counts for almost all heroes. Like you could do a lot. Just because you have low HP doesn't mean you can't dish out damage or help your team or like stun or do whatever. Like stick around. Like that's where the plays come from actually. And when you're low HP, the opponent's like, okay, he's going back to base. Like they're not gonna expect it. So just be as aggressive as possible. Figure out your limits, and then you can start making plays like based on like if you had like enough like aggressive moments or enough games with Pudge, you're gonna be like, okay, like this is can do it, and you could bait people, right? You're like low HP, and you're like, okay, I'm waiting for him to go a little bit further, and I hook him and kill him, like easy. Like that, you should be thinking about it mentally. Don't ever panic. Panicking is the worst thing you could do in Dota. Always keep your composure. Always think about it. Okay, like don't be like spazzing out or whatever. Just be like, okay, like this is happening. I need to think this through, and you're calculating in your head all the time. Like when you play Dota, you're always making small calculations in your head about like what can I do. And basically, team fights and everything, like the whole game of Dota is all about moving backwards and moving forwards at the appropriate times. You need to know when to back off. You need to know when to go forward. And a lot of the times, you can go forward and try to like outplay your opponent when people don't pussy out is what I'm saying. Like you need to take advantage that Pudge is an early game hero. He's a really strong hero if you use him properly. If you land your hook, he's gonna do a shit ton of damage and always be useful to your team. I'm done.